did. You are upset. We gotta be a cop now. I have to go ahead and first.
That's what we need in a policeman.
That was in the details.
It's all in the details.
We'll just leave it at that.
All right, I call this meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Williamstown to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilor Raymond, you want to lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Paul, you want to do roll call?
Mr. Klein?
Here.
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Guthrie?
Here.
Mr. Bush?
Here.
Mr. King?
I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of our last meeting. I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion and approved to waive the minutes of the last meeting. So on to item 4 of our agenda for this evening, and that is the variance request from Pat Rao and Chris Bender for a 1,000-foot setback requirement for a gaming facility. You want to give us a little background?
I'm Chris Bender with Vinci. My husband, Pat Rao. We would like to propose that the city rethink the 1,000-foot rule and go with the state basic requirement. And I'm taking this straight from the Retailer License Commission. The location cannot be within 150 feet of another limited video lottery location, the perimeter of a public park, or place of business that sells petroleum products capable of being used as fuel in an internal combustion unit engine. The location also cannot be within 300 feet of a church, school, or daycare center. The lottery does not follow the same guidelines as the ABCA when measuring, determining distance. For more information. Okay, in planning this, we don't see just a limited video lottery place. And if you think about the places in Williamstown, 90% of them are just games. That's not what we envision. We envision a 40 by 80 building at the rear of our property in the grassy area, and percentage-wise, a 10 by 10 area of that would be games. The remainder of that, I need an area for banquet facilities. I get calls daily, weekly. We need to house 100 to 200 people. We need to house, and if you think about it, I can only house up to 80. So people have to go to Grand Point, the new Elizabeth Sugden building. They go to the Shrine building, and if you've ever priced any of these places, they are very pricey. We need an area, and it would already be handicap accessible with no, if you know my building, it is all upstairs where we have bigger, where we can house larger groups. So I think that is part of the attraction. We are not just looking for a limited video lottery gaming area. We have other things in mind. It's not just going to be that kind of draw.
Chris, what was the overall size of the building?
40 by 80.
When you say the rear of your current building or property, so right behind where the pavement or the concrete ends of the parking lot, directly behind that?
Anybody else have a question for Chris or Pat? If you public comment, if you are going to address the board, when you please stand and say your name and speak clearly so that we can hear
Good evening, and I appreciate the chance. Just a couple of things I'd like to start off with. Chris and Mr. Ralph, I'm a old-fashioned type of person. I'm sorry. To the zone.
Name.
Name.
Oh, Jim Crawford. I'm on 4.5 Street. What I truly believe is when someone has property, they do what they want. And I applaud you for building a bigger restaurant and a 10 by 10 gaming facility and a banquet hall. We'll probably use it. That, great. And all the other stuff, it's her property, and I have no problem with that part. And I want to make that up known, and I'm glad because we need something like that in this city. The reason I'm here tonight is I looked at the ordinance and I knew there was a variance, and I went around the 4.5 Street area where I live, and I talked to, and a lot of people just don't want to come there because it's too cold or the COVID. So I'm the unlucky one that gets to face the board and Chris, and I'm not good at public speaking, but I was reading the ordinance, which is what, 1321 article, and it says the planning commission of the city of Williamstown may waive the spacing provisions set forth in the above finding are made. And I forgot, you said something about going to the state, the 150 foot of, of easement, right? Is that property line to property line? Because I think that might interfere with one of them, but I don't know. I'm not factual information, that's up to the board. But under this, and number 1 says the proposed use will not be contrary to the public interest or adversely affect the value, use, or enjoyment of nearby property, and that the spirit and intent of this section will be observed. All right, in that little section alone in Williamstown, before the city established what we have now, we're looking at what, 5, 6 gambling facilities? Within that quarter-mile thing, we got 2 outlets for liquor and tobacco and a couple of bars. It's going to affect the value of this area. I'm not sure how it affects the restaurant, but as a homeowner, that's what I'm looking for. And a lot of people on the street are worried with those type of establishments. Because I've sat there and you have people that are addicted to drugs or addicted to alcohol, they're addicted to gambling. And lately it's getting worse. The enjoyment, I love that park. I'm sorry it's going away, but it's your property. Hey, you say stay off it, we stay off of it. We used to walk our grandkids and our dogs, and even down on the strip, I don't know what your plans were, but that's a nice place to go. So that was for enjoyment. A lot of people liked it, but like I say, it's your property, just like anything else. So hopefully there will be a sidewalk or something there. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This here tonight has nothing to do with the swamp.
I'm just going off what the planning zone said on their thing, sir.
Okay.
So it says you're allowed to unless, and I'm referring to the unless.
I think that's a different issue though.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, I'm hoping. I don't know because I never talked to you two about this.
The gambling.
Okay, the gambling.
Please.
So gambling facilities like that are going to affect the real estate value. And it says, number 2, that the proposed use will not enlarge or encourage the development of a district or geographical area in which there are proliferation of gambling and or video lottery. We got 6 right now in that spot. That would be 7. I think that would be considered under the Williamstown ordinance as a district that would affect that. That's what I'm afraid of. Other than that, I don't know what's going on. That's what I'm voicing my opinion. I talked to my neighbors. Among some other things, they don't want to see another gambling joint. And the other stuff we're not going to talk about. But you do what you want. I'm just worried about that part with because I own the swampland and all that other stuff. So I'm pretty close to you. I just don't want to see any more of that. That's my personal opinion. But I'm only one voice. I talk to my neighbors. There are some neighbors who just don't like that. Some of them don't want to come out tonight because it's cold and the COVID. I'm sorry. I wish they would so you could see them and you could talk to them. That's what I believe in. And I'm presenting this to the commission or committee today, and I'm just voicing our opinions. I think growth is a great thing. And if she can grow a better restaurant, I'm all for that part. I'm just not for the gambling point in that location. That's all I'm voicing. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer of what I thought and some of my neighbors thought. From either one of you two. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Jennifer.
I'm with them. I agree.
You gotta stand up and say your name. Sorry. I got yelled
Melanie
at.
Crawford.
Jim.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Rodeo.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
Melanie Crawford, and I agree. Jim and I have talked a lot about this, and I don't think this is what Livingston needs. Some of the other places that are here, I don't know how to say this nicely, but I feel like some of them bring in a little bit of riffraff. And I get a little irritated by that because just a few years ago, when there was talk of bringing the dollar store in, that was fought because that was considered to bring riffraff into town. And now we have it, and it's a nice place. Everyone here shops there, but this is a different issue. And I know down there in the corner, when we walk, I've practically gotten ran over by people whipping in, whipping out, don't pay attention to what they're doing. They're just all about getting there as fast as they can. And what they do there, I don't know. Are they drinking? Are they driving? So I'm against it. And that's all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jennifer?
Jennifer Stewart, 4.5 Street. I have property in the swamp. And I think when you bought the Vincey's, you were aware of the wetland project. At that time,
We're not
And
talking
this
about
has
the
nothing
wetland.
to do with the wetlands.
Yeah, we're not talking about the wetland. We're just talking
That's a
about the
different-
gambling variance tonight.
okay. Used to be, they put one in at the Waverly Road. And supposedly at that time, it got in there and the city was like, it can't be. It was too close to the church, but it went in. It brings in a different crowd. And I don't think with the beautiful new school that we have, that we want it shattered by gambling. I know for a fact, at a high university, when they had parents' weekend, they wanted to know where Williamstown, West Virginia was, how close. They came to spend the weekend with their kids, but they were looking for Williamstown to gamble. Now, is that how we want our town to be known? Chris, I'm not against your restaurant, for you. But the gambling, I don't think, with all the children in this town, we have worked so hard on our parks, our sports, our recreation for our children. And I know if you go down Waverly Road in the summertime, in the evening, when the ball fields are full, it's bumper to bumper. You want kids, and may I ask, I mean, there's rumors. Are you planning on having buses in there?
Yes.
I don't think we need that.
We
On
have
Waverly
100
Road.
employees we're trying to feed, 100 families there.
We employ a lot of
There's
people.
100 people
I
that live there.
realize that.
We need
And is
business.
this going to be
You
a
remember the Levy House? The Levy House, that's how they, but that's another,
Yeah,
that's
let's
another,
stay on topic.
that's another.
Are you talking a
That-
one-story building?
That's not what.
No,
That's, this is another, that's another
we're
meeting.
talking about buses for the
Buses for the
restaurant.
restaurant for
People.
business. You remember when the Levy House used to have buses come in and,
Okay, let's stay on topic. Let's talk, we're talking about the gambling now, the variance for the
Okay,
gambling.
the variance on gambling. There's way too many gambling places in Williamstown to be known as a family community. Just my opinion.
Thank you, Jennifer, coming in. Ma'am, would you like to speak? State your name for us and where you live.
I'm Elizabeth Fordyce, and I live at 449 Highland, here in Williamstown. I've been here about 10 years because my grandchildren started school up here, native of Parkersburg, graduated from Parkersburg High. I just want to state, as an ordinance was passed on September 16, 2003, according to the Board of Zoning Appeals, Chairman Shane King. I quote from the Parkersburg News, December 6, 2020 issue, page 1C. The ordinance was drafted to kind of stop the flow of gaming facilities coming in, King said, unquote. Currently, there are multiple gaming facilities within 1,000 feet of each other in Williamstown, but they were grandfathered in. I am opposed to this variance being passed to allow another gaming facility in this small town. I hope there will be a petition with a mass of signatures to the Board of Zoning to not allow even one more gaming facility in Williamstown now or in the future for various reasons. I love your restaurant, I eat there, but I want Williamstown to stay like it is. Small town, great for kids, great to live here. Let me go now.
If you're finished, that's fine.
I'll finish.
Thank you, Mrs. Fordyce.
Thank you.
Ma'am?
I'll take this off. My name's Lee Flynn. I live at 420 Poplar Avenue in Williamstown. I'm here to voice my support for the proposed zoning request made by Chris and Pat for their property. I come from a long line of small business owners in Williamstown. My maternal grandfather, George Davis, owned and operated the Maytag store in the corner building located at the end of the Williamstown Bridge for over 40 years. My paternal grandfather, Charlie Griffin, owned and operated Griffin Electric on Henderson Avenue for over 50 years. I have other family members that have owned businesses in Williamstown, and my point is, without small business, Williamstown will become a ghost town. My family, along with others, have made the choice to keep business in our hometown to increase revenue for our community as well as providing for their families. Chris has done the same by maintaining one of the best restaurants in the valley. She has contributed to the growth and success of our town, as well as going above and beyond in her service to the community and its people. She maintains long-term employees in her establishment by being a generous and compassionate employer. She offers a clean, safe, and beautiful environment that we all benefit from, as well as generating a significant revenue for the city. It seems logical to me and advantageous for the zoning committee to accept her appeal and permit her to expand on a business that she is already extremely competent and proven successful in her abilities to manage. It is my opinion that another location in the main commercial hub of our community will not interfere with the residential, educational, and religious occupants in our town. The small addition to the great gaming facilities, which I understand it to be small, and it will also offer food. It's not just a gambling house like the ones here on 14 and where you just go in and gamble. It's a place to gather. It's like her restaurant is. Can be family friendly. Not children, of course, but they're not allowed in the bar either at Da Vinci's. So I don't see that it's an issue of a gaming facility that we're looking at. We're comparing it to the wrong thing, in my opinion. Small addition to the gaming facilities already in existence will be insignificant compared to the positive impact that another thriving business will have in this community. Chris, that's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Thanks, Lee.
I think
I
it's
appreciate it.
a valiant effort.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
I have another question. Chris and Pat, you had mentioned a 10 by 10 room inside this facility. Approximately, how many machines would that hold?
There's gonna be 5. That's what the letter said.
Could you tell me, and this is only if you know this, if you don't know, just let me know. How many games does the facility next to Da Vinci's besides Smokers Friendly have? Or behind Smokers
I
Friendly?
believe it was
10.
10.
They have 10. How about Beachcomber?
10.
How about the small establishment right across Waverly Road entrance there off of Highland? Have any idea?
I think 5.
How about the facility beside what used to be
I don't
7-Eleven?
I'm not been in that.
Not in that one. Have I missed one? How about by the interstate?
Uh, 10.
I
I'm
don't
not sure
know.
about
I don't
Is
know.
it a fraternal order?
Fraternal order, it would be 10.
that.
Fraternal order would be 10.
That's the one behind Smoker Friendly, sort
No,
of?
up by
Up
the
on the hill.
interstate. They're allowed to have 10. I don't know if they have 10.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, I was just curious. Thank you for that.
Anybody else? I want to thank you guys for coming in this evening, and thanks to the people that came in and spoke from the public. I have a memo from Blaine Myers, our city attorney. It's dated today. I'm going to read to everyone. It is my understanding that an application is pending for a variance to be granted under Article 1321. As I understand, the applicant seeks to establish a video lottery location that is within 1,000 feet of another location where video lottery already exists. I have been requested by the chairman of the Board of Zoning Appeals to render an opinion as to whether the Board of Zoning Appeals has the authority to grant such a variance. The provisions of Article 1321.01C specifically provides that the Planning Commission of the City of Williamstown may waive the spacing provisions based upon certain criteria set forth in the ordinance. Although the Board of Zoning Appeals generally has the right to grant variances from our zoning ordinance, in my opinion, the explicit language of Article 1321 reserves the right to waive the spacing requirements for video lottery in the Williamstown Planning Commission. It is therefore my opinion that the Board of Zoning Appeals does not have the right to grant the variance from the spacing requirements for video lottery under Article 1321. Any such request should be forwarded to the Williamstown Planning Commission. And that's from Blaine Myers, the city attorney.
So this was in,
Today we got this.
so this was kind of a moot point.
But we still had to have
We had to
this.
have the
Okay.
meeting.
And now we go to the planning commission.
We'll forward the request.
Okay.
We want to just leave it the way it is, unless you
Sure.
rewrite it. I will forward it to them.
Okay.
It only has to be advertised for 2 weeks. This
Okay.
time to be advertised for 30 days.
I may read, the copy may be a little bit different.
Okay, just as soon as you can.
Tomorrow.
Okay,
Or-
because I was looking at the calendar, in 2 weeks, we could have, if everybody's available, we could have a meeting on the 28th.
Okay.
Because it's a much shorter timeline than the board of zoning appeals.
Okay.
My apologies.
Ah.
Dated today.
Throw that letter in the
It's already recorded.
I do appreciate you guys coming in and, you know, it's helpful to, you know, gauge what people say and if nothing else, you know.
trash. Right.
Right. Okay.
We'll do what we gotta do.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See y'all.
Thank you guys again.
All right.
All right, the next order of business on our agenda was the date for the next quarterly meeting. We had set a date for January 25th. Paula, in her genius, has requested that, or has suggested that we change that to the end of the quarter instead of the beginning. So that if we have something that comes up, we don't have to have 2 meetings within a quarter. That, you know, have our quarterly meeting, we can have it at the same time as a meeting for business.
So what's the schedule on our next meeting? What's the current schedule?
The 25th is when we're, of January, is when we're supposed to have our next meeting.
So we're
Do you have
suggesting move
anybody
that to
leaving
March.
or beginning on the committee? Will they be starting on the first of the year?
Do we have anybody leaving that would be starting at the first of the year? Let me look here. Where's that list? I don't think so.
We do.
Oh, do we?
Jason and Rex.
Oh,
So if they would want to
I didn't even
re-up,
know that.
yeah.
They don't want you.
I mean, you think it's,
we can put you on the agenda the first meeting in January to get reappointed.
Okay,
If you both want reappointed.
that sounds fine. Sure.
Rex?
Unless they're gonna vote me out.
To have it again.
Do you want to be on the board again
yeah,
next
you want to
year?
continue to be on board next year?
I'll suck it up for another year.
Well, it's
Remember that.
actually 3 years.
You remember that? So, that will be at the first council meeting, is that what
In
you-
January.
in January.
So we'll just get a letter for that one, right? We don't have to come in and
They don't have, we don't have to come.
give blood and all that stuff.
No,
Since you already did all that stuff.
you're already broken in now.
Yeah, you're already broken in.
You already suck.
With that being said, we want to change that January 25th meeting to, what would that be, the end of March? To the end of March for our next meeting, quarterly meeting, unless something should come up between now and then, of course, and then we could,
So you wanna shoot for the 29th or the 22nd? Or, yeah, that's a Monday. 22nd, 29th, the last 2 Mondays in March.
You might have to back to work for that.
maybe. Not too bad. Either of those dates, I mean, we can do the 29th if that's good with everybody.
Yep.
We need a motion and a second for that, Colin, to change the date on that.
I don't think so.
I don't-
But you just canceled one instead of.
Yeah, we canceled the one that we had already established. So if everyone's good, March 29th for the quarterly meeting, and that of course is unless we get some business come up.
7:30 again?
Yep, 7:30.
Unless we have 2 feet of snow.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do.
Or,
End of
or
March,
the
I hope
COVID's
not.
really bad and you have to do it all together.
I have a motion to adjourn.